name is Kyle. Welcome to my Capstone. Today I'll be talking about U.S. law and constitutional amendments. Landmark legal cases are a very important thing in our society. They change the way we operate day to day, and it's all thanks to the Constitution and its amendments. Back in the 1780s, the framers of the Constitution were writing a stronger set of government rules. The framers were the writers and the founders of the Constitution. The Articles of Confederation, which was the previous document that governed the United States, didn't give enough power to the federal government. The framers sought to change that. They wrote the Constitution, which along with giving the federal government more power, also allowed for changes to be made in the future. This was because the framers were smart guys, and only guys, since times were different back then. They knew that eventually American society would change, so they gave the people in the states the power to change the Constitution with a majority vote. So now if we ever need to change the Constitution or make an amendment, we could. We will talk more about amendments later on. You might be wondering what I meant when I said landmark legal cases. By that, I meant famous cases like Miranda v. Arizona, District of Columbia v. Heller, and Gideon v. Wainwright. All of these changed the United States in their own ways. Miranda v. Arizona changed the way that police make arrests and do interrogations. According to Andy Costello, a retired NYPD deputy inspector and a professor at the institute, currently professor at the New York Institute of Technology, Criminal Justice, the police used psychological techniques to get a confession out of Miranda. Also, the police did not inform the defendant, Miranda, that he had the right to remain silent. Ultimately, the court found the arrest and the forced confession unconstitutional. Another landmark case, District of Columbia v. Heller, changed the way that states had to regulate firearms. Heller was a police officer who lived in a bad neighborhood, and the police department wouldn't let him bring his firearm home with him. Mr. Costello said that the District of Columbia was regulating guns unconstitutionally by doing this, and so this case stopped that. Gideon v. Wainwright was another landmark case. There are a lot of these landmark cases, but this is the last one I will go over. Gideon v. Wainwright was a case where Gideon, the defendant, was charged with a felony. He was denied the right to an attorney due to Florida state laws saying that the state court can only appoint counsel when the person charged with a capital offense. Gideon appealed, and the Supreme Court declared that he had the right to counsel, changing court cases in Florida today. In 2000, inmates were released, and Gideon was appointed a lawyer in another trial. He won that trial and changed history forever by giving every defendant in the United States the right to counsel, no matter what the allegations were. As I promised, I talked more about amendments. Amendments are a change to the U.S. Constitution. It's very difficult to get an amendment passed. This is how the framers planned for the Constitution to be changed in the future, by making amendments to it. According to Mr. Costello, amendments are good base rules to prevent mob rule. Mob rules whenever it's popular goes. That may sound good, but what if 80% of our town decide that you own too much property? They get to take it away since they're a majority. And that's a nice house. You don't want to lose that. The amendments protect that from happening. Amendments are changed when 2/3 of Congress propose a new amendment, and then 3/4 of the states must ratify it. There have been over 1,000 amendments that have been rejected or simply have not been ratified. Normally, for a criminal case to be unconstitutional, it has to start with an arrest, and the process of that arrest violates the Constitution. From the local state criminal court, it keeps going up as the defendant keeps appealing. There are 12 circuits in the United States, and not including the federal circuit. Each circuit is like a bigger region. If the same issue keeps popping up in the circuit courts and they decide differently, the Supreme Court must take it because there's a separation in the circuits. It takes 3 years if you're lucky, but could easily take up to 10 years. For example, Mr. Costello says that the first event of someone's rights not being told to them when they were in custody was in 1959. Miranda v. Arizona happened in 1966. That's 7 whole years, for those of you who have done the math. These cases change our society because of all these cases involve basic rights being blocked. Miranda's basic rights to be told his own rights were taken away from him. Heller's basic rights to defend himself with a firearm were taken away from him. And Gideon's basic rights to an attorney were taken away from him. Are you seeing a pattern here? These all affect everyday things that could happen to any one of us, but these cases stopped it from happening drastically. And all this is because how cleverly written the Constitution was. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk about how landmark legal cases affect our society and the interpretation of the Constitution. I know it's a mouthful. If you want to find out more, go to my blog site where I post in-depth details about the process of making this, or these 2 sites that I use are great for research. Have a good day!